So we'll get started. I just want to welcome everybody. Thanks for I know we'll have some folks probably joining us as we get going, but I just want to say good morning. This is our Amplify Oshkosh Ideas Amplified event, and not in person yet, but that's coming soon, as we were talking about just a little bit ago. My name's Rob Clayman. I'm Senior VP of Economic Development here at the Oshkosh Chamber, but also serve as the lead staff person to Amplify Oshkosh. So this is an Amplify event this morning. Forgive me as I admit folks coming on in, but we're glad to have Pat Tracy from Appleton International Airport with us today, and he'll be sharing some of his perspectives on kind of technology trends and travel, where things are headed. I just wanted to give just a little background briefly on Amplify Oshkosh. This is really a grassroots initiative of folks that got together, I'd say back in 2014, 7 or 8 years ago. And it was really designed to heighten the awareness of IT and digital careers and to promote technology here locally. We've got, we determined there were a lot of unfilled IT positions in our region. Right now, the guesstimate is about 3,000 unfilled IT jobs in Northeast Wisconsin. So there's great opportunities. What we're trying to do is spread the word about the opportunities that are available to students and all the way down into middle school, elementary school. So when they get into high school, they kind of know that the careers of the future and where they could really from an employment perspective, where the jobs are at. So that's kind of Amplify. We've got about 20 people on our consortium leadership committee that gets together monthly and strategizes on events, activities, and where technology is heading. We've, with our events that we've held over the last 7 years, we've identified there's over 900 individuals that have attended at least one of our events. And a lot of these are folks that we were not connecting with prior to forming Amplify Oshkosh. So it's been a great way to bring a whole host of new leadership and new people to the table. So we want to keep doing this. If you want to learn more about Amplify Oshkosh, just contact me at the Chamber. You can email me, rob@oshkoshchamber.com, or give me a call here at the Chamber. I'd be happy to sit down with you and chat more about Amplify. I do quickly want to thank our annual sponsors of Amplify Oshkosh before we get to Pat. Our platinum level sponsors are Oshkosh Corporation, the Oshkosh Area School District, and SmartIS. And our gold level sponsors are Fox Valley Tech, Bank First, Stellar Blue Technologies, Sadoff E-Recycling and Data Destruction, and Arctic Wolf Networks. And then we have silver level support from Change Management and Withley, so as well as Horicon Bank. So we're thankful for that sponsorship. It really does. That's an annual sponsorship. We have probably 60 to 80 other sponsors that help sponsor our other events that take place throughout the year. So it's been well supported. The effort's going to continue. I do want to mention, look for our big event on September 21st. We're planning that at the Culver Center. We obviously didn't have one last year, but that's where we bring in national speakers and regional panels on technology, kind of the latest things happening. So more information will be coming about that. And then we're also going to be looking at doing some type of Amplify Mixer event this summer in July to get folks together to reconnect. So, but with that, I want to get right to our presenter today, Pat Tracy, who's from Appleton International Airport. Just real quick on Pat's bio. He oversees marketing and PR, airline recruitment, aviation business development at Appleton International Airport. Since arriving at ATW in 2013, Pat has blended guerrilla marketing tactics with digital and social marketing, leading Appleton to 58% passenger growth versus 27% for all U.S. airports. Wow, that's awesome. Woo! Way to go. Pat graduated from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV, all right, the Rebels, with a degree in hotel administration. He worked for the Hyatt and the Hilton hotels before moving here to Oshkosh, where he became the online travel booking guru at Fox World Travel. Pat and his wife Dawn, they love Oshkosh. They live here. I know where he lives. I know where he lives now, and enjoys walking their corgi puppy dog Bo in Menominee Park. And I saw a picture of corgi just a little bit ago. Cute puppy. So Pat, we're glad to have you today, and I'm going to turn it over to you for I know it's going to be a very interesting presentation because I've seen part of it already. So Pat, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Rob. I am excited to be here today. I made a little note on 3 housekeeping items before I jump into my show. And the first is that please follow us on Facebook, Appleton Airport on Facebook, or on Instagram. We do a lot of fun contests and news and travel talk. So that's out there for you. We also have an airport LinkedIn page. Honestly, we put pretty much the same content on the platforms. LinkedIn's a little different, but if you watch us on one, you'll pretty much get what we're up to. The chamber mixer on Monday at TJ's Highland Steakhouse. If you've not been there, it's one of my top 3 favorite places in Oshkosh. So please come down there. And the airport is a co-sponsor of the event, and we'll be giving away a $500 gift card on American Airlines. And I'll be down there and happy to talk more travel with you. So hope to see you on Monday. And then lastly, if you want me to ever share some of this travel content or other travel content in your company or in another organization that you belong to, that is part of my mission. And you can just reach out to me. So, and I've got my contact information in here. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen. And
Pat, I'll just mention that, folks, we'll be doing a Q&A at the end, but people are welcome to use the chat feature, but it can also, this is an interactive meeting, so folks can turn on their video and ask you a question directly if they'd like. So we'd love for that to happen.
And yes, I'll try and take a breath once I get rolling. I start talking fast, but just stop or interrupt, or Rob, if they send in chat questions, I'd really just as soon ask me questions as you think of them and we'll stop. Okay, travel technology. So I've been here for, this is my 9th year at the airport. Here's my contact information and my cell phone. Reach out to me at any time with a travel question, or if you need help up here. And just as I thought about how I would talk to travel technology people, you know, there's 2 kinds of travel technology. The first kind is the technology that you're going to use when you're traveling. And I'm going to go through some of the things that are new and some of the things that are coming. But before we do that, I want to talk about the other kind of travel technology, because when you're in the business, as long as I have been, I think about the travel technology that I'm using to sell travel to the consumers. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from. I was in hotels for 20 years, and I was a front office and a sales guy. And back in the 80s and 90s, the global distribution system was the way that suppliers, meaning air, car, and hotel, put their inventory up for sale. And you know, back in the 80s, you had to go to a travel agent or call an airline to book a ticket. And that GDS system is still in use today. And when you're buying anything on Expedia or Travelocity, any of those sites, you are using the GDS. I stumbled into technology when I was working for a Sheraton hotel. They sent me to the reservation center in Austin, Texas, to learn how to load the hotel inventory into the GDS. And if those of us who are older will think back, you know, you'd be on Hyatt.com, or, you know, you'd be, when it got into the internet, you'd be looking and you'd see, you know, King guest room includes microwave, hair dryer, you know, and all those features. So we would do that. And the game was to try to make your product sound more attractive than the other guy. But I enjoyed that so much so that they sent me annually to the Sheraton call center, and they trained me, and I became one of the resident experts in the company on how to manipulate the GDS to sell more product. And so when I think of travel technology, that's what I'm trying to do, is sell more travel. I came to Appleton I came to Oshkosh in 1994, and I was working for Fox World Travel. My second week on the job, my boss came to me and said, "Hey, Pat, there's this new thing called online booking for corporates. And since you don't have any accounts yet, we're going to make you the online booking travel guy." And that fit perfectly into my prior training on the GDS, because I totally understood the back end of how to position things for the customer. So I spent 12 years at Fox, and Fox grew tremendously in the 90s and into the 2000s. And we eventually came to the Concur travel booking platform. There's probably a dozen online booking platforms that, if you're a company that's spending $1 million a year on airline travel, or even $500,000, you might want your travelers going through a managed travel program. And so that's what I set up at Fox. I set up pretty much all the travel programs here in Wisconsin, because I was the online booking guy. So then when I came to the airport, I realized that there was an opportunity to exploit some of my prior skills. And Appleton was one of the first airports 4 years ago now to get into Expedia and market our airport in Expedia. And we actually were featured in a case study. And at the Expedia Global Convention, they used Appleton as a case study, because in my second year of advertising fly out of Appleton Airport on Expedia, with the little banner ads that you see on the sides, on an investment of $30,000, Expedia booked an additional $4 million of air travel sales on an investment of $30,000. And that really put us on the map, and that helped fuel the explosive growth that we've had here in Appleton. We've been blessed with this amazing, strong economy up here. Manufacturing does so much travel that it's really helped us to grow. And part of my job is to go make the community pitch to the airlines to say, bring airplanes here. And so Abe, who's our airport director, and we work this together. We've brought 7 new routes to Appleton in the 9 years that we've been working together. And to be honest, Appleton is recognized throughout the country as one of the leading marketing airports in the country. And it's really because of digital and social marketing, as well as how we work with the community. But so what is happening now in the business is that the GDS is going to migrate into what they call the NDC, and that's new distribution capability. And basically, the travel sector has lagged behind the retail sector. And so NDC will enable airline, car, hotel, cruises, all the travel providers to better communicate the features and upgrades to consumers, to give more of an Amazon-like shopping experience to travel buyers. Some of the places like Expedia, they do a pretty good job of bundling the packages and everything together, but it's still pretty clunky. And so NDC really has just been started, but in the future, you will see the travel offerings become better and better and more graphical. And so travel shopping will change greatly over the next few years. So, just a little background there. I'll take a breath for any questions, and then we'll get into kind of travel technology that you'll see as you travel. I should mention that I have been traveling steadily since September. In my role as air service person here at Appleton, this year is the best time in my lifetime to get new routes. And so I have been meeting steadily with airlines all over the country. in most places, I have been their first visitor, their first guest, their first dinner out. I just came back from 7 days in Savannah, Georgia, where I spent, I did a bleisure vacation, which I did 4 nights of vacation with my wife. And then Dawn came home and I stayed on for a convention. And I spent 3 days with airline reps from American, Delta, United, Southwest, JetBlue, and Allegiant. And I had an opportunity to meet with all of those folks and tell them the Appleton story and say, we're ready for more flights in Appleton. And just as my last part of my sales pitch here, Appleton was just listed as one of the top 25 growth airports in the country between now and 2025. We're the only, there's only 3 Midwest airports on the list, and we're the funnest one. So anyway, but all the other growth is happening in the Sun Belt states, the mountain states. So enough of the sales pitch. Just a couple things, because I would be remiss if I did not share this with you when I'm talking about travel. Real ID, that is the federal government program to sync the nation up with a shared set of standards for driver's licenses. And so the deadline was this October to have the Real ID, and that's the little star on your driver's license. Because of COVID, that was extended to 2023. So Real ID doesn't cost any more than the regular driver's license. You just have to have your 2 forms of ID. And if you've been married, you need your marriage license. So please get a Real ID so that you'll be compliant, because after the date in 2023, you would need either a Real ID on your driver's license, or you would need a passport to fly in the United States.
Do you just go down to the DMV to get that? Is that just?
Yes, you do. You want to research it. You want to look up on the DMV website to see exactly what documents you need. I'll be honest, it took me 2 trips to the DMV to get my Real ID, but you know, I'm a type A and I don't read so well. But just go to the DMV and read it, and they'll tell you what you need. It's a good reminder to check your passport. Obviously, no one's really traveling much internationally now, but the passport, U.S. Customs that issues passports is tremendously backed up, and it could be 2, 3, 4 months before your passport renewal comes back. Tsa Pre-Check, that's another program we love that for $85 for 5 years gives you faster access through the checkpoint. And we host quarterly Tsa Pre-Check enrollment events here at the airport, because you need to present yourself to a TSA officer as they verify your identity. And our next event will be in July, and there's details for that on our website. And finally, the digital health passport, but I've got a slide on that. This is the Appleton route map. And this is just me showing you, this is where people are searching for right now. And the baseline now in travel is comparing this year to 2019. We all just threw out 2020, so we're comparing things to 2019. And you can see the cities ranked there that are receiving the most travel searches. This is people searching online for destinations. And if you can read those, Miami, Phoenix, Charlotte, Tampa, the list goes on and on. You can see at the bottom of the list that the big metro areas have really been closed down by COVID. New York, Boston, San Francisco, they're in the negative for searches. The fun thing about Appleton is we've been able to position ourselves as we've added routes. Sorry, my map's in city codes, but I think you get the idea. We're proud that we have nonstop service to 8 cities on the top 16 search list. This is the TSA trend. The TSA has been the best source of trend data for how are people traveling. And through April, The nation is back to 63% of the volume of the travel, the daily trips, as compared to April 2019. Appleton Airport is at 81% of 2019. So Appleton is emerging stronger out of the pandemic. In both March and April, we did 80% of our business that we did in those months last year. So that's exciting to see. I've been traveling a lot. I will be honest, it's been challenging in some places because everything is 50% open or less. And some places are a lot less. So at airports, we have 2 restaurants here in Appleton. The one is open out by the gates. The one on the land side is closed. And you'll see a lot of restaurants and retail closed. The car rental shortage, I'm sure you've read about that. I won't even go into it, but there's a huge car rental shortage. And so it's kind of flipped the trip planning. Now, I think traditional thinking was you buy your airline ticket first, then your hotel and car. I would now suggest you to research hotel and car first, because the hotels are also booking up. Cars, it might be even impossible for you to rent a car in some destinations. I was just in Savannah. It's a great walking city. Once you get to downtown, you don't need a car at all. So my suggestion would be try and go places where you don't need to rent a car this summer. The Ubers, extremely scarce. And so then the other, just to kind of shift thinking, what's happened in the airline business is the airlines have all transitioned to what they call the leisure schedule. And the leisure schedule is basically Thursday and Sunday. We're all taking like these longer 4-day weekends. And so Thursday has become the new busiest day of the week instead of Monday. And as the airlines have tried to minimize their losses, Tuesday and Wednesday, the flights could be thinner because that's typically when people fly less. And I tell you that because if you're trying to plan a trip and you're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday, now flight options may be less, and because that might affect what you're doing. The most exciting thing for me as a consumer to come out of COVID is that the airlines all eliminated the $200 ticket change fee. If you ever had to change an airline ticket, you had to change your dates, your meeting changed, or, you found out your daughter's graduation is, during your vacation. Now you can change your airline ticket without paying the $200 fee. And that was really the legacy carriers, American, United, Delta, kind of matching Southwest on the no change fee thing. So that's really good for consumers. I would mention that on the lowest cost fares, which if you're on, say, American Airlines, they call it basic economy. Those fares will have a change fee. And you're getting a basic economy if it won't let you do a seat selection and it won't let you do carry-ons. So typically I avoid those tickets, those basic economy, but just so you know. The other fun thing that happened is the airlines eliminated the standby fee, which, say you had a 5 o'clock flight, but you got done with your meeting early and you want to come home at 2 o'clock. It used to be $100 to stand by. Now they're waiving that. So that's kind of fun. This is the biggest thing that has happened over the last year. Obviously with COVID, we were, masked and not trying to touch anything to get germs. And literally the entire industry shifted over the last year where we're doing everything on our phone. And I think because I'm talking with a technology group that you're all pretty savvy, but to me, the standard now is that you've got your payment set up on your phone with your credit cards all loaded in there. You have your airline apps on your phone so that you're booking your ticket on your phone, you're doing your boarding pass on your phone. And the beauty of that is because you're seeing your luggage getting loaded onto the phone, or your luggage getting loaded onto the airplane. And I find the airline messages through the app extremely helpful. They're using location intelligence at the airport to tell you how many minutes you are from your gate. Say if I'm connecting through Detroit, when I get out at my gate, it'll say you're 17 minutes from where you need to be. So I find that very helpful. The self-service luggage check-in, we don't have that here in Appleton yet, but certainly at the bigger airports, they do. And it's just eliminating one more touch point where you have to deal with people, and you can basically tag your own luggage and drop it off to get screened. I have embraced the hotel digital room key. I kind of love it now because for me, it's one less thing to carry. And if you could see me traveling, here's my phone. I have my 2 credit cards and my ID here in my little phone case. I can literally travel the country with my phone and a backpack. And I've done a couple trips this year where I'm just trying to minimize and just travel lighter. And so I would encourage all of you to do that. And then the last thing that I've noticed is all of the restaurants now have their menus on QR codes. Honestly, I always liked QR codes as a marketer, but nobody used them. And I proclaimed them dead like 4 years ago. But lo and behold, because of COVID, the QR codes have come back, and I love it. I think it's a great way to communicate with customers. And so this is how I would recommend you set yourself up for travel. Any comments or questions on that?
Hey, Pat,
okay.
I have a quick question. This is Patty.
Yes.
If you go back to that other one, how do you tell if the hotel that you're booking has that opportunity?
You know what, Patty, that's a great question. I know that all the Bonvoy, like I'm a big, because I'm a frequent traveler, so I'm a Bonvoy guy, which is all the Marriott brands, which I don't even know anymore. But so all of your big hotels will all have it. All the Marriott brands, all the Hilton brands, Hyatt, all the Holiday Inn, all those big brands will have it for sure. And that should be listed as one of the features on the hotel website when you're booking that.
Oh, okay. So when you book it, you should, but if you book it through like Travelocity or something like that,
yep,
you may not see that, or how does that have they, I understand that they haven't exactly all circled the wagons on that one yet.
Yeah, I love the question, Patty. You're right. If you book through Travelocity, or a travel agent or something, you can. So again, you want to have the hotel app on your phone. But say I book through Travelocity, I just then because I just did this, I had to call the hotel to do something with my reservation, and I said, "Hey, can you put my I said, put my Bonvoy number in the reservation because it wasn't there." And when she put my frequent flyer, my hotel frequent flyer number in the Bonvoy app, then the reservation showed up on my phone.
And we just had someone chat in that
Yeah,
says
Patty,
if you download the app for that particular chain, it will let you know that it's an option. So you probably still have to go to that chain to get that.
Yes.
Yeah, that came from Brooke Sumner. The other question that I had, Pat, back on kind of the parking and that, and maybe not as much of an impact in Appleton, but you have these shuttle services. You could, go to O'Hare, you could drive down to Wally Park and they park a car, valet, and they'd shuttle you over to and they're closed. I mean, they're gone. Do you see those things coming back now? Or, I mean, some of those businesses are just gone. And
you're right, Rob. Entire sectors of travel are completely wiped out. And one of them is long-term parking. The other is what I would call black car service or limousines. In the past where your CEO might have had a black car service pick them up at the airport. I mean, those people a lot of them are just gone. So I think they'll come back. It's going to be a while. But travel today is a very much different experience than it was 2 years ago. And you need to be prepared. And that's why you should have your apps loaded. I want to be armed with, I want everything on my phone. in an app, locked down tight. And when I'm out traveling and I see the customers that are having to deal with the front desk and stand in the lines, it's the people that just have not embraced that or don't understand how to do it. But I mean, the future is right here on our phones, and it's today.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay, so this is a little more nuts and bolts stuff. So TSA, by an amazing coincidence, had been planning to streamline the checkpoint, and they were able to roll it out starting this year. And so here's a picture in Appleton of when you approach the TSA checkpoint. And I do want to mention that, you know, TSA had to do all the social distancing and mask things that everyone else in retail did. And so TSA, you can just kind of see it. It looks like a little ticket booth now where the TSA podium checkpoint person stands. Now they're like encased in a 3-sided glass wall. And there are the plexiglass protectors all through the checkpoint. And I mention that because when you put me in a mask trying to talk through a glass wall and TSA in a mask trying to talk back through me, it's hard to hear. And so you're going to want to have patience and grace as you're traveling through the system. So that's just a reminder on that. But what the new technology is, and so we have this working perfectly in Appleton, is that you approach the checkpoint and you can see the little machine on the right is for a driver's license. The little machine on the left is for a passport. And so now I don't need my boarding pass anymore. I literally walk up with just my driver's license in my hand. I put it in that little reader, and then the TSA system pulls up my driver's license. It pulls up my flight reservation for today and displays it on the screen for the TSA agent to see. They ask me to pull my mask down because it shows them my picture for my driver's license. So I just pull your mask down. Yes, it's me. And then this eliminates the need for TSA to touch your stuff. And now I've got just my driver's license is the only thing that's coming in and out of my possession. And along with this, I can't say this strongly enough, when you approach the checkpoint, you want to have your phone and your wallet like inside your bag, zipped up, so that the only thing out there is your driver's license. And you're going to train yourself immediately after you put your driver's license in the machine. You're going to stop. You're going to put it back in its place, because you want to be this little self-contained traveler who's not touching things or losing things as you go through the checkpoint. Every day somebody leaves their driver's license at the checkpoint. What a hassle for them. The other cool piece of technology is the bag scan machine. And again, we do have these in Appleton now. It's a 3D scanner instead of the flat scanner that they used to use before. And the benefit to this is that for TSA Pre-Check people, your technology can stay in your backpack. I find that a huge advantage. If you're not a TSA Pre-Check, the benefits are you can leave your shoes on through the checkpoint. You can leave your technology in your bag. That's cool. Everyone now, because of the new scanning technology, can leave your little plastic bag with your toiletries and your liquids. Everyone can leave that in their bag now. Now, I'll be honest, this has been implemented in varying degrees as you travel around the country, and it's like different everywhere. And I just asked my TSA guy yesterday, are you going to standardize this? And, you know, it's like herding sheep. So this is what you'll see in Appleton. You'll see variations of it as you travel around. Facial recognition. So this is in use now. You will see it at bigger airports. We don't have it in Appleton yet. There's the 4 airlines that are using it today. And the way that the facial recognition works is it's run by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So this is a little weird. This is like where the technologies get slowed down. You know, TSA is the agency that processes us through the checkpoint. Customs and Border Protection, they're like the international folks. They run the custom stations, but they're in charge of the facial recognition because that's really going to a global standard. And so the facial recognition uses the face scanning technology to verify your ID, and the image from the scan gets compared to one stored in a cloud-based photo matching service populated with photos from visas, passports, or related immigrant applications. So today, it's in use at 17 airports. The Department of Homeland Security, which is over both Customs and TSA, their plan is to have this fully implemented in the US by 2023. Honestly, I don't see it, but that's the plan. So it is coming, and so that's good to know. The digital health passport. As I was putting my show together, this was kind of a future technology, but literally when I opened my travel news this morning, American Airlines said we have turned on the ability to upload your COVID-19 vaccination record into the Verify Health Passport. So to take one step backward, there's a dozen companies right now working on the digital health passport. Verify is just the one that American picked. And so to answer some questions that may be in your mind, domestic travel, no one is talking about a digital health passport for domestic travel. You don't need to show COVID vaccination to travel domestically. When you fly, when you check in for your flight on your phone, you're asked 3 questions, and it's basically, do you have COVID right now? Have you been exposed to COVID? And as long as you say no, then it'll let you check in. So domestic, you don't need to have a vaccination, but internationally, this is going to be kind of the standard for entry going forward. And so again, American has partnered with Verify, Alaska Airlines is using it, and some of the international carriers. And just literally today, American announced that if you're flying internationally out of their hub in Charlotte, for example, where Appleton has a direct flight to Charlotte, or if you're flying out of their hub in Dallas, you will be able to use Verify to get through the checkpoint. Because the trick is, if you're traveling internationally, the airline person that you check in with has to verify your COVID status to meet the requirements of the country that you're going to. They won't even let you on the plane in the US until they verified that. And they're going to verify it both here in Appleton before we let you on the airplane and in your connecting airport. So the airlines and the government are really serious about this for international, because they don't want you to get to Turks and Caicos and then Turks and Caicos won't let you in. So they're really trying to get this handled before you get on the airplane. And American just put out, hey, here's how you basically upload a snapshot of your vaccine health card, and then the Verify app validates the documents. I don't know what that means, but somehow there must be tied into the healthcare system. And that is the plan for international travel, is that these digital health passports will help make us more comfortable. We'll feel more comfortable to be on an airplane, for 6 hours traveling internationally. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, Mike Balistreri asked, will kids be verified for COVID?
Boy, I don't know that, Mike. That's a great question. I'll find out, and literally I'll find out this morning, and I'll put a note I'll send you all the this slideshow, and I'll put a note in there about kids. Any other questions on that? Okay, I have 2 other slides then. So that kind of concludes my part about talking about the travel technology that you'll see. Obviously, I had to leave some things out. I could literally talk for a day about this topic, but I wanted to share with you 2 of the pieces of technology that we're using here in Appleton, but also that every good travel marketer in the world is now using. And the first of these is search. And so Appleton was the first airport to sign on with this company called 3V. You can see the report is titled 3V. It's 3 Victors. And actually, my friends at Southwest Airlines said, Pat, you always are onto the new thing. You should get into 3 Victors. And so what you're looking at is real-time searches for travel out of Appleton. So if you're on any one of the online booking tools, this picks up your search activity. This doesn't, if you go to united.com, it doesn't pick up the airline.com searches, but the searches that are not airline.com are 40 to 60% of the searches. So this is pretty valid. And so they gather these billions of searches. Their servers are like, oh my God, 300 petabytes. I was just at my meeting, the 3 Victors guys were there, and they were telling me all the cool stuff about, their platform. And so you IT people will know how much 300 petabytes is. It's a lot. And so here's the fun part of what this tells us, though. The blue line is 2019 searches, which is now, remember, that's the new standard of how we're thinking, how are we doing? The yellow line is 2020. We're basically throwing that out. And then the orange line is 2021. And you can see how accurate this is, because if you look right here, I'm at the yellow line. I'm at the yellow, here's my little marker here. Oh, I don't know how to use this. If you see the little yellow line for 2020 and dipping down right before March 1st, this is everybody, this is COVID starting to be a thing and everybody's not looking to travel anymore. And then this spike right after March 1st, that's everybody saying, oh no, how am I going to cancel my tickets and do something different? And then obviously you can see what happened with the rest of the year. Here's what's interesting. Look how high the demand is for people searching to go on trips this year. We are, at times we're doing, 10 to 20% more searches than we were last year. This is weekly. So, last week we had 45,000 people. We had 45,000 searches out of Appleton. And if you are an IT professional, you may know that every search initiates, really, every time I type in Appleton to Dallas, that really initiates in the back end like 40 searches through all the different GDSs and all the different tools. 3 Victors removes all that noise. They say our data is deduped and debotted, and they are emerging as the leader in search volume. And the reason that this is important is because if you're the destinations on the left, and you can see my searches last week for these top destinations, this is invaluable information for pricing, for inventory. Just everybody in the travel ecosystem wants this information. So this is kind of cool. And we're just excited that our searches are so high above last year. And again, that just proves the sense of travel revenge that you all are feeling right now. Here it is graphically represented.
Pat, may I ask a question from the consumer side or the business traveler side? Decades ago, you'll recall perhaps that you recommended that we use ITA software because that was the company that was pretty much, the driver for the search engines that were going out there.
Yep.
Is there something similar to that, or which one would you recommend now that for both business as well, particularly if I'm traveling with my own dollar, which one of the search engines do you see as really helping us out the most?
Probably Google Travel.
Really?
Yeah, they really do good. They do a nice job. They do that. I hear a lot of people using Google Travel now. The problem with that is like Allegiant's not going to be in there. I'd have to look and see if Southwest is in Google Travel.
I don't think they are, Pat. That's why I was wondering.
Yes. So Southwest has always been the renegade. They didn't participate in the GDS, so they were never in those searches. Now, Southwest is now in the GDS for corporate searches. They've signed agreements with 2 of the 3 corporate GDSs, and they've signed with all 3 of them now. They're not in there. But if you're in a managed corporate travel program using Concur or a similar corporate booking tool, Southwest will start showing up in your native display. But yeah, Patty, and again, I'm trying to hang out with as many under 30-year-olds as I can, and they all seem to be using Google Travel.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then my last slide, and this is really the most, I've got 2 here on location intelligence. So we did talk a little bit about, apps tracking you through the airport. And so here in Appleton, we are currently using Placer, which is a location tracking tool. And Placer is really designed for retail establishments, Target, Costco, Walmart. I see a lot of retail searches in there, but Placer buys app location data. So say you have your New York Times app and your Delta app and your ESPN app. If you have enabled location tracking always, those of you who've gone in there and shut that off, you'll know what I mean. Then those apps are tracking you all the time and sending me the data. Now, I can't see who you are, but it aggregates the data and we know the general trends. And so here's just a very beginner look at the Appleton market area. And this is really just, we have to validate the tool first, and we have validated it now. This looks like our market area. And so we are tracking folks in and out of our market area. And then here is prior, which means before they come to Appleton Airport, where were they? And then on the right side is after they come through Appleton Airport, where do they go? And we draw geofences around our airport. Honestly, I draw geofences around Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago, Madison. Those are airports that I compete with. And so I have the ability now to follow my customers in my market area and see, as a large combined total, to watch the behavior of those customers traveling to other airports and traveling to destinations around the country. How creepy is that? So that was my presentation. I hope that I covered enough travel technology topics for you. I'm open to questions or comments on anything.
Don't be afraid, folks.
Rob, I've had this reaction before. I've stunned people into submission.
Well, you've answered everything, Pat. I have a question, and it's really not necessarily on tech, but is there like a top 5 list that you guys have of maybe future destinations that you're seeing from some of this data and where people want to go that
Yes.
next 5 years we might see out of Appleton?
Yep. Yes, we do. And I'm happy to share that with you. So the first thing that we look at, because we have American, Delta, and United, is we look to their hubs that make sense for us. And a great example of a hub success was Denver. We got that United Denver flight back in 2018. We knew it would work because we use US Census migration data to show where do people retire and move when they leave here. And there's a huge pocket of Fox Valley people over in Denver. So we knew that flight would do really well. And it happens to be United's hub. It's like their gateway to the West. So like, that's a great, that flight's a winner. They just restarted it back up after COVID. And we're now asking for a second flight because the morning one's always full. So other examples of that would be American has a hub in Dallas. So we do a lot of travel to Dallas just to go to Dallas. And it's also a hub. So we like Dallas. Phoenix, American has a hub in Phoenix. And even though I have Allegiant service, 2 to 4 days a week to the Mesa Gateway Airport, which is kind of in East Phoenix, a lot of people would prefer to go to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. So I could see American bringing a Phoenix flight in here. I could see with Delta, they've got a great hub in Salt Lake City. We'd love to do Salt Lake City because our biggest need here in Appleton is flights west. We've kind of got Florida pretty much covered now. We need more service west. As we think ahead to maybe 2 or 3 years out, Southwest is always a question for people. Hey, what's Southwest doing? We are like best friends with all the network people at Southwest. I see these guys 5, 6, 7 times a year. Pre-COVID, we were probably on like the 2025 plan for Southwest. But what happened in COVID was Southwest has added flights to all of the fresh air and sunshine cities. So they just totally destroyed their 5-year plan because they've got planes this summer going to Jackson Hole, Bozeman, Billings, all the fresh air places. So they really messed with that plan. But Southwest, when we talk to Southwest, we talk about they don't call them hubs, but they really are. We talk about Baltimore. That would be their hub into the DC area. We talk about Denver with Southwest. Again, we could do more Denver on Southwest. We talk about Texas. Texas is strong, so I can see us getting some more flights to Texas, whether that be Dallas or Houston. The other thing that's going to happen here is today, if you just Google Breeze Airlines, there's a brand new airline that just launched their opening schedule today. Breeze is founded by a billionaire named David Needleman. He is the one who invented JetBlue and Azul Airways, which is a Latin South American carrier. And David has started Breeze. And what's interesting about him is, well, he hired all of my friends from Allegiant to go run his airline. So now all my best friends are at Breeze. They're based in Salt Lake City, but he's got orders in for a new airplane, which is called the A220, which is basically a 100-seat jet that can fly to LA. One of the problems with us and the West Coast is that some of the planes, some of the aircraft they just can't fly that far on a single load of fuel. And so the Breeze is their plane, and 100 seats is the right size of aircraft. So I'm talking to Breeze about Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle. So those are destinations on my list. The two that are the hardest to get are New York City. We would pretty much take anything in New York, LaGuardia, Newark, JFK. I wouldn't be so excited about. New York is the most crowded airspace in the world. I literally have to go to New York, drag another city away from their gate and take over their gate. It's slot controlled. It's really hard to get a flight into New York, but we ask all the time. And the other market is Washington, D.C. DCA, Reagan Airport is the same thing. It's slot controlled. Everybody really wants to go to DCA. To me, Southwest and Baltimore is a second option. United is trying to talk to us about flying to Dulles, and then taking the white train, the white line, the train in. And I'm struggling with that. But so those are some of the destinations that are on the top of my list.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, good future. Well, I think we've hit that magic hour. Pat, great information as always. Always engaging. We appreciate you sharing all this info with us. It seems, it's a lot of changes that are happening in the industry, but it's making things more efficient to travel, really. I mean, quicker and faster and more efficient, easier for us. So these are great changes for the most part.
It's an exciting time to be in travel. If it's going to be a busy summer, it's going to be a crazy busy summer on travel, I think. So,
yeah, for sure.
And Pat.
Well, thanks again. And we want to thank everybody else for participating as well and coming online and hearing all this great information. So Pat, we'll see you again soon. And Monday, we'll hopefully see you Monday at the Business After Hours event at the Country Club.
I'll see you Monday. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great weekend,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.